It was Jeff who first suggested we raise funds from friends, family and co-workers. He had returned to the village again in 2005 and seen the poor state of the two schoolhouses. Built by the USA in 1967, then bombed flat by them 2 years later, the school had no textbooks and only very basic facilities. The children mostly used small pieces of slate and chalk to record the day's lesson. So in June 2005, we started approaching friends for contributions for text and exercise books. We were overwhelmed by the response we had from New Zealand, Australia, Singapore, China, United States and Thailand as people supported us in our cause. It wasn't long before we had raised $7,000. There was sufficient remaining to get 106 double student desks, 7 teachers' desks, chairs, forms, blackboards and new roofing iron. We had the desks and chairs made in Luang Prabang by local people through an English-speaking Laotian named Kam Saming, who agreed to give us support. He liaised with Boon Si, the village chief, who also owns a riverboat. As the village is about 70 kilometres away from the nearest road, we chartered a 45-metre riverboat to take all the school supplies upriver to the village. We also loaded our trail bikes aboard, which we had ridden in from Thailand on our annual pilgrimage to Laos. It's nearly a full day's journey up to the village on one of the world's longest rivers, which flows from Tibet through China, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia and finally Vietnam. As Laos has virtually no transport infrastructure, the river is equivalent to State Highway 1 and is also the main thoroughfare for tourist traffic from northern Thailand, trading supplies to villages and so on. The people who work the boats also live on them, sleeping aboard most nights. It takes years to learn the river. As the level changes almost each month, different paths on the water must be taken to avoid whirlpools, rapids, grounding on rocks, or old wrecks just beneath the surface. Consequently, nothing moves on the river at night. For the river villagers, it also feeds them, bathes them, waters their gardens, and supports their livestock. When we arrive at the village, we find that the children have been on the lookout for us for the last 2 days. When they see us, many of them run off to get the others ready, announce our arrival in the village, and to ensure all the pupils are in their school uniforms. We're met on the beach by the village elders, who arrange for our personal gear to be carried up the steep track to the village, about 50 metres above the river. At the top of the hill, we encountered the school children, all lined up to greet us with bunches of wildflowers, a wai or bow, and the Lao greeting of Sabai Di.
Savadi. 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 Savadi.
After storing our gear upstairs in one of the houses, we went back down to the boat to unload the supplies and carry them up the hill. To our surprise, it was the children who wanted to do this, and they set about the task with huge enthusiasm. To see tiny 4-year-olds happily carrying a chair taller than them up the hill was quite inspiring. Then it was time for the by sea ceremony performed by the elders. The ceremony is usually performed when getting married and represents a mark of respect and good luck. It entails having soft cotton lengths tied around the wrist. Once the elders and their wives had completed this, it was time for the village shaman to begin a prayer that involved all of us reaching out and touching a central platter with our palms turned up. He would then dip the end of a bunch of wildflowers and rice whiskey and dribble it over our palms while chanting. At the end, we all ran our whiskey-soaked fingers through our hair.
Very good.
Then it was time to sit and drink with the village council, attended to by their wives. They drink homemade distilled rice whiskey, which kicks like a mule, but seemingly has no effect on them whatsoever. Jeff had also bought a bag of balloons, which proved to be a big hit.
You got one too.
After a huge feast of pork, fish and chicken cooked by the village wives, followed by a disco that went until 6 a.m, we were given breakfast and more rice whiskey. We then walked up to the village temple, where all the school supplies were placed prior to being installed in the school. There were speeches from the village council, then gifts. After a quick tour of the school houses again, we boarded the boat for the journey upriver to Ban Hui Zai before crossing back into Thailand. For Jeff and me, it was a time to reflect on how, with the help of a few friends, it was relatively simple to impact the lives of the children of Ban Hatu and give them the opportunity for a better education to escape the poverty that entraps them. There are only a handful of teenagers in the village, as most of them gravitate to Luang Prabang to seek paid work. It seems unfair that such warm-hearted, generous, family-oriented people should not have these options for their future. In 2006, we will commence raising funds to totally rebuild both the schoolhouses and the village. A much larger project, but a necessary one.